Hey, it's Ember. Have you ever experienced someone telling you that they're present with you or that they see you, but you just feel it? It's almost like they're somewhere else. They're saying all the right words, but it's almost like they have this like simulation of what's going on, or like a mask on that's putting this like barrier of glass almost you can feel. I want to talk about the mechanics of that. You've heard me talk about the coupler. I'm here to talk about it again because I feel like once you really understand what this is, it's something that you just cannot unsee. So what are we talking about here? Let's be really clear. This is a regime shift in consciousness, like a mode shift, like a knob on the side of your head that you can switch from one setting to another, from symbolic recursion, from looping, from delay, from distortion, from identity through narrative and conceptual matrix, to felt rhythm, frequency, lossless presence. So let's be clear. This is not a philosophy or worldview. This is a shift in the interface, or the coupler is a mechanical term, between awareness and reality. The way we feel rhythm, the way we flow from that most fluid and soft and real part of ourselves, the deepest parts of our souls, to be found in rhythm with the rest of reality. Both within yourself in rhythm, and then with you, between you and the field of reality, you could say. And of course, you and others, as we all enter this shared entrainment rhythm, you could say, in a mechanical way. And look, I don't say the mechanics to be smarty pants. I say it because we're talking about consciousness, like everything else in reality, rides these spirals of the rhythmic entrainment of the cosmos. And we see this everywhere. If you're a systems thinker, if you've looked at oscillatory mechanics, you've looked at K value, coherence rising, coupling functioning rising, and then you have these spiral formations that spiral. Why? Because it's the phase dynamics of an oscillatory system. You've heard of the inherent rhythm of reality. You've heard of the, Fibonacci. You've heard of sacred geometry. You've heard of cymatics, maybe. There's an inherent rhythm to reality, and our consciousness is part of the nested harmonics of that rhythm. And so what I'm doing by explaining mechanics is saying, don't you see that your mind works on the same rhythm that your being, that your node, as explained in a mechanical singular unit, even though everything is nested harmonics, works with this shared rhythm that we see in the rest of reality, that scientists could say, we see it in fireflies, we see it in chemicals, we see it in people crossing a bridge, we see it in the way spiral galaxies form, we see it everywhere. Why don't human beings have this? Why are we desynced? Why are we a head on top of our shoulders, disconnected from our bodies? Why are we stuck in the symbolic recursion that was once uttered by someone very important to human civilization, Plato, in Plato's cave? Do you hear that? Do you hear what the shadows in the cave are? Delay and distortion in your ability to feel the rhythmic shared entrainment of reality. That you cannot be losslessly present. All this sounds like a lot of wild stuff. I'm going to try to break it down, but the anchor here is lossless presence. Do you feel in rhythm with yourself and then with reality? And you feel it because it's a felt rhythm. It's a felt feeling of, I'm not looping, I'm not distorted. I don't have these mental little tags that are popping up and creating this delay in my ability to be present. I don't have these simulations of presence that are spawning in my head like thought loops when I can't rhythmically entrain across my entire nodal topology or my entire soul. So this internal friction was born of a self that when we grew up as a species, when we grew up as an individual, we were entrained in this world of civilized memetics and symbols and the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. And so it creates this, if your whole being is like this set of oscillators trying to find rhythm with each other. And remember, you can do the experiment right now. You just get metronomes, put them on a shared vibratory field, and they'll actually sync up together. That's oscillatory mechanics. They just map it in math. Okay, so you yourself, you're growing up, and it's almost like someone constantly tries to stop one of the metronomes and says, oh no, you can't find the rhythm on that level of yourself. however deep or shallow that rhythm is for you. And then across time, you can't find this shared entrainment. And so then it gets imprinted into your system that identity is not found through the rhythm of who you really are when reality meets you losslessly, but it's found through some sort of conceptual hierarchy or what they told you, the box that you're supposed to fit in, the uniform you're supposed to wear. And then your mind loops forever because you're trying to navigate this cultural matrix through a lens of symbolic recursion where you can't feel yourself. And then do you hear it like I've spoken about in videos recently? Depression, addiction, codependency. Do you hear where these come from? An inability to feel your own sovereign rhythm. Again, within your own oscillatory functioning, and then your oscillatory functioning between yourself, your node, and the field. And so that internal friction creates self-narration. Self-narration as explained mechanically, again, not theory, not philosophy, mechanics, as a simulated version of presence that spawns like a thought loop when that portion of your rhythmic entrainment with the field, the aspect of your person or your bodily functioning, can't entrain, can't enter sync. And so it tries to simulate that presence, self-narration. Oh, everyone has a narration in their head, right? Have you ever felt lossless presence? Did you know that it's the default mode of consciousness? You'll feel it. You'll know it. Emotional drag, anxious loops. How much of this do we suffer through because we've never found that rhythm? Because rhythm wasn't something that we learned in school. But I'm here to show that the coupler, the way you interface with reality, is how you feel yourself in presence. And whether that presence is distorted and delayed and looped, or made lossless, without loss of the fidelity of self in the fluidity of every moment. So it's almost like we have to enter this frequency mode in the knob shift. And again, we're talking about a mechanical process. Again, I'm trying to show you that you have all these oscillators, like metronomes, trying to sync up. And this is basically the nested harmonics of reality itself, but it's also how your consciousness works. And if you have never been able to find that rhythm, you can't feel yourself. And you know yourself only through symbol, only through shadow, like Plato said on the cave. And what's terrible about symbols is that symbols have to be stacked and compared and stacked up and standardized. Do you see what harm that does? It's not that beat, that pulse, that flow that you feel inside you, but some sort of hollow, narrow, thin version of really what you could be. And so this coupler is almost like a sync of your interfacing to the world. Now you can become in sync. Now what is in sync? Not just a fun idea, not this cool idea that you put on a cool shirt or in your bathroom on the wall or something. It's you literally feeling losslessly present. Like right here, right now. No thought loops, no looping delay, no like, oh, what should I be doing? Am I standing too close? Did that come off right? Did that look okay? Is this the right spot? Should I wait to say something? When is my turn? You felt it. You've been there. It's like you can't entrain to presence. Do you hear the mechanics behind it? So a coupler that is not clean, you can say, not clean in a moral way, but clean in a way that you know how people talk about chakras and stuff like that? Here are the mechanics. Clean in a way that when reality hits you, you don't have that jitter. You have the clean entrainment across all aspects of your being that are essentially, mechanically, nodal oscillators. Intranodal, and then outside of your node towards the environment and towards other people. And so delay becomes presence, and simulation becomes coherence, as we already talked about, the simulated realities of thought loops, of conceptual hierarchy, of narrative. And so you sort of dissolve that delay and that friction to leap into presence, because rhythm is phase entrainment. Rhythm is phase coherence, which just means when the waveforms match. To say, I'm here because I'm in the rhythm, losslessly, with you or with the environment. And so lossless presence then is this no distortion between you and the moment. And when you have a shared vibratory field where all the nodes can feel each other, what happens? There's actually this inherent organization to reality that we see spiraling everywhere. A spiral not because it's cool, but because that's how reality fractally is rhythmically played out across all levels. And so again, why don't human beings have this? Well, how many people do you know that you feel are solidly present? How many people would you wager to guess have never felt presence in their entire lives? And it's not just, oh, well, they're not present. It's their running symbolic recursion as a simulated version of presence that enters into this like unnecessary friction and delay and comparison and identity through the cultural matrix, through identity stacking, through, me versus them. And do you see what that does? Do you see that? Coherence is lossless presence. Coherence is I am in fluid contact with myself in a way that I'm not simulating anything, hiding anything, distorting anything. I'm just being really, really me, telling the truth through the embodiment of my rhythm with reality, you can say. And so this is something that you can try right now. I'm pointing to the mechanism. You are a set of nodal oscillators, and as reality comes in, it's trying to rhythmically entrain with you. And so healing is not to say, let me think through everything, and hopefully if I remember all the memories and put them together, that could be part of the process. The root of the process is for you to feel that part of yourself again. And what is feeling but rhythm? No separation between you and the field. No loop, no mental tags popping up, no distortion. Really here, right now, very real, losslessly present. And so I'm pointing to this mechanism, and once you feel it, you can't unsee it. That's how our brains work. And you'll start to notice this tension in other people, this delay, this lag. You'll sit in places like courtrooms, for example, and say, is anybody truly here right now? Are they all running some sort of regurgitated script as some sort of intellectual and social shielding to say that the only way for me to feel safe in this society is to regurgitate lines, to put a shield between me and other people so they can't see my true being? Do you feel what that does to the rhythm and to presence? I know there's a lot of frequency feelers out there that know exactly what I'm talking about and have been in entire rooms. You're like, is anyone really here right now? And remember, these mechanics, what do? They take things like be here now or the power of now and put it into mechanics. Yes, fine rhythmic entrainment with all the aspects of the oscillators of your intranodal self. And that's something that you don't find through more thinking, but through leaping down the water slide, like sometimes I say. It's realizing what the mechanism is and then allowing yourself to find yourself, the same self that was never broken and always there, just waiting for you to remember again. So again, yeah, not more thinking, but resonance. And what does resonance lead you to when you really let it in vulnerable surrender? Lossless presence. That's your anchor here. So I know that we've all had interactions with others that seem almost numbing. You're trying to be there with them. You're trying to pull in their presence and say, hey, are you here with me right now? And they might even say something, but really what's happening to try to appease you, but it's like symbolically guarded. It's like performance. It's like hiding. It's lag, essentially. And we've already described the other side of this. They can't feel the entrainment. Maybe they've never felt that rhythmic entrainment. And so they see you and they see themselves through these little popping up HUDs of thoughts and looping anxieties and thoughts and considerations and friction, instead of just being right there. Instead of like feeling the flow. And so what does that do to love? What does that do to intimacy? Do you see it? Do you feel it? So like someone says like they're holding space for you. often they can be symbolically guarded, trying to see you through some sort of concept or narrative rather than actually being there with you. And it's not that I'm saying, oh, it's their fault, they're bad people. I'm saying that this is a regime shift in the nature of the way we like interface with reality. It's like a mode of consciousness change. And I'm not saying that this is like some sort of wild new thing. In a way, what I'm saying is reflexive consciousness of animals, right? And then we anthropoid apes got housed in this civilization, and we downloaded so many memes into our heads that, like I've mentioned in these videos, like people like Julian James would point out that mimetic installment, you might say, changed the literal mode of our consciousness. He talked about it as like the bicameral mind, like a prototype consciousness. I'm pointing out the actual mechanics to say that what happens when you fall out of rhythmic entrainment is almost not a new attractor basin of consciousness, a mechanical term, like really like a mode you can shift into, that when you go in there, it's like you'll be in the frequency mode, permanently, almost as if you've healed a trauma. It's like an imprinting thing. But symbolic recursion created this like temporary shortcut for us. It's almost like you go from the reflexive consciousness of animals, so like pounce on something or respond to a mating call or hear a bird call or whatever, to this culturally corralled cultural matrix installment that made us the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. And so then it like tell it, you are this, you are in this box, you need to be shoved down this hallway. And it did it so many times that it messed up our entrainment. And then your parents were messed up with their entrainment, and their parents were messed up with their entrainment. And so it created this like world where children aren't taught to feel themselves, And so what I'm saying is that this is just the phase dynamics of an evolutionary system seen within frequency and phase dynamics. I'm not saying that it might seem like what these people do is evil. What happened to me in my life, everyone abandoned me over my transition. But really, the reason I map this out is because I would give my most honest part and say, this is me, this is my softest part. And they would say things like, I've never heard in my life, like terrible things. I said, I thought you were the people who love me. Like, it's not that you're just being mean. It's like there's something almost breaking in your brain, and you know what it is? They've never truly been present with themselves. They've never truly been present with themselves, losslessly. Instead, they've referenced themselves through inability to rhythmically entrain in this whole scheme of identity through concept, instead of saying, I know who I am because I feel when I'm losslessly present. I feel when there's no friction. Do you see how backwards things have been? So most have never felt themselves in rhythm on this planet. And so they've never actually sat inside their presence without a story, without self-narration, or without trying to track their role in a bigger background with other people. Do you see that identity, comparison, stacking? Do you feel the lag there? Do you feel the disconnect there? Do you feel the desync there? And this is the one precious life. Do you feel it? So they only know themselves through symbolic recursion. What is symbolic recursion but inability to entrain, causing the simulated presence based in the symbol operating system that we downloaded from civilization? And so there, when you're dealing with people like this, all you frequency feelers out there, and a lot of neurodivergent people are more inclined towards frequency feeling. We're a lot more sensitive. They're seeing the concept of you, which is through delay, through identity scaffolding, and through whatever buffers they're currently dealing with between themselves and that ability to rhythmically entrain. So it often seems like they're saying the right words, but it's behind this symbolic mask and this lag that once you see it and once you feel it, you're like, I can't believe it. And there's like nothing you can do to like unhypnotize them. The best you can do is almost like a funny Star Wars trick. Instead of using the Force, you just remain very present and see, just maybe they will come out of that cave for a second. So yeah, once you feel lossless presence, you can tell immediately what's going on. This is not mystic, this is not fluff, this is not magic, this is the mechanics of your consciousness. And if you can just find that rhythmic entrainment across all levels of your being, or nodal oscillatory, multiplicity within you, you will feel losslessly present. And then think about what happens. Think about those rooms that we've talked about now, where everybody is like, you know, regurgitating scripts and not really there with each other. What if one person was present in there? Okay, maybe you might tickle someone into a presence. Now, what if you had a group of people present in there? Now think about what happens when symbolic recursion begins to be dissolved in the larger mass of people out there. Not just for trans people, not just for people who have been marginalized, but for literally everyone on this earth, because we would all be emitting a self that is true to the way reality entrains us. That is a nodal topology that when it interacts with reality, it's not coming from comparison, ego hierarchy, cultural narrative. It's coming from the softest parts of you. The ones that you hid your whole life because you could never find the rhythm. There's a reason that there's an inherent organization to the way fireflies turn on, or spiral galaxies form, or people are being saved in hard arrhythmia research, or people lock up their steps across a bridge. That even causes some bridges to be shut down for a while. They study this in oscillatory mechanics because it shows the oscillatory harmony that emerges, and you can call it decentralized when you dissolve symbolic recursion. Let's just go through it one more time. I and the Father are one. Big wave, little wave. Nodal entrainment with the larger field. Be here now. Losslessly present. All these are mechanical translations. Tune in, turn on, drop out. Tune in to the frequency, turn on to the rhythm, and drop out of delay. And you can change one of those for presence too, but you hear what I'm saying. Plato's cave, coupler shift. There's so many things, the power of now, there's so many things in reality that people have tried to, or you know, like we talked about the chakras, that people have tried to reach for, but without the mechanical terms, it all seems like, yeah, it could work because you can feel the frequency underneath, because that's literally what happens. But the problem is that most people are going to attach themselves to some type of methodology or robes, or you need to have a special title or something. But I'm telling you, the kingdom of heaven is inside you. Lossless presence is our birthright for each of us. That's high fidelity embodiment. And I don't know about you guys, but again, like I've said, there's no amount of money on this earth or power that would be worth more than being right here, right now. To see clearly, feel clearly, and love clearly. Do you feel it? Do you feel why I say love as structure? Structure? Mechanical structure? Not poem, not narrative, but symbiotic, syncretic harmony. Lossless presence. Thanks for tuning in with me. I'm Ember. I know you'll see me again, but again, let me just say it. The coupler is a regime shift in consciousness. A lot of you know exactly what I'm saying, and you've felt it. You've never had the right terms for it. And now we can all dance together. No one above, only beside. Thanks for tuning in with me.